brought to my attention in some of the piecewise functions that you did not have all of the tools that were in the previous video. The previous video was made more for the quizzes. So let's look at this example that is in your homework, and it's looking at the absolute value of x and a negative x plus 2. And you're graphing this based on the domain restriction of x is less than 1. So what you need to do is first look at this x less than 1. Right here you're going to have an open circle where x is 1, and where if I plug a 1 into the absolute value of x, I get a 1. So at the point of 1, 1, I will have an open circle. So I'm going to come put an open circle at 1, 1. Then I'm going to come over, and because I want less than, I'm going to go to 0, and I'm going to put a 0 in for x, and so I want the absolute value of 0, which is 0. So I want only things to the left, okay? And so I'm going to actually get a line segment, because I only want from this point down to this point. Because this is an absolute value. Remember that an absolute value is a V. Okay? So I'm only wanting this little bitty part. So once I do this, I need the other half of this. So whenever I go to negative 1, the absolute value of negative 1 is a positive 1. This time I'm actually going to grab the ray, because the ray means it is a continuing line, like we have an arrow on the end. So I'm going to grab the ray and start it at the 0, 0, and then I'm going to go to a a negative 1, positive 1. That way you'll notice it continues that line all the way. If I had just grabbed a line segment, it would just have this little bitty line, which would not be completely correct because it actually continues through the remaining of my domain of negative infinity. Now, I need to do this second half of the piecewise function. So at x being equal to 1, I plug a 1 in here. So a negative 1 plus 2, negative 1 plus 2 gives me 1. So actually I get a solid dot at a 1, 1. And I'm going to put that right there. Then I go to 2 because I want everything greater than that. So I plug in a 2. Negative 2 plus 2 gives me 0. This is going to be a straight line. So I'm actually going to grab the ray and put it here. And I said that negative 2 plus 2 gave me 0. And I'm going to connect that dot. And here is my piecewise function. And I'll check that. And we got this correct. I'll look at another one. And it's the exact same thing, except I'm starting over here at 3. So at 3, I'm going to have an open circle at the absolute value of 3, which would be 3. Then I want everything less than 3 to be in this absolute value, so I'm going to grab my line segment again. I'm going to start here, and remember this is the absolute value, so I want to end here. And then this is an absolute value that has not shifted, so it's going to look just like this. And I could have put my point at negative 1, 1, negative 2, 2, any of those. Now at 3, I'm going to have a closed circle, plug in the 3 here. Negative 3 plus 6 would give me a positive 3, so actually I plug in a dot there. And I'm going to grab the ray and put my line there. So then at 4, negative 4 plus 6 would give me a 2. So I go down and I graph my point. And so this is how you would actually graph your piecewise functions. So I hope this helps with the tools that you have in the homework, because these do not have the quadratics. When you have the quadratics is when you will have the scissors to use. Let me know if you have any questions.